Okay, welcome back. Legion Report, Season 2, Part 2 of Episode 1, or we can say Episode 2, but it's the aftermath of the Murph Challenge. I'm Ray Farrow.
And I'm Danny Hayter. Welcome to the Legion Report. And we have John back with us. So, hi John.
Right,
Nice
guys.
to have you back, mate.
Cheers.
Nice to see you both alive, which is good.
To be back.
Just about, mate. I am literally just about.
Still just about able to log in.
Yeah. Looking
Open the laptop.
Had to do it with his elbows.
Yeah, we're doing everything with our elbows now, aren't we? So we have to say hello with our elbows now. So
that's true.
Why not? So guys, obviously you're just over a week from the challenge ending, which was obviously last Sunday. So a week and a day, 8 days from the challenge ending. Firstly, I'll just ask how you're feeling at the moment. So how are things feeling? How's your body feeling?
I'll let you go first, John.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Mine
now.
might take a while.
No, it was obviously seized up after that event for a couple of days, but I think by sort of Wednesday, so we finished up on Sunday morning. So by the Wednesday, I started to sort of almost feel normal again. By Thursday, I think I felt 100%. Yeah, back to normal.
So you're back doing some sort of bits of training, easing yourself back in,
Yeah, just back slowly. We went for a run this morning, but just easing back into it, and then full swing of things probably this week.
Yeah,
so,
nice. Yeah, that's good. Good news.
Yeah, I'm literally just starting to feel okay now, really, and we'll come to that a bit later on in the show. But I've still got quite swollen biceps at the moment, but I'm moving around now, and I'm feeling good. Like John said, we went for a run this morning, so that was the first bit of fizz since last Sunday, really. So things are on the up now. So
yeah, good. So obviously we get to what you did and what you didn't do in the challenge, and like unofficial records and all that sort of stuff that may or may not have been broken. But I just want to take you back to that the night before / the day of the actual challenge itself, and just sort of emotions and what you were feeling around it. Whether you sort of that excited feeling where you just want. I know when we last spoke, you just I just want to get it going. I just want to get going now. I'm at that point where I just want to get started, and just sort of take us back to those sort of that starting moment and the sort of buzz around that.
So I think the night before I was just excited. Just excited at the challenge ahead, and seeing where I could push it, what I was capable of. So I was really looking forward to the challenge really the night before. I slept well, which I didn't think I would. I thought I'd be thinking too much. I managed to get my head down, but then in the morning I think I got up early, and then the nerves started kicking in a little bit. But by the time I got to the gym, met up with John, I was ready to go. Felt quite confident. I was just wanting to get started, really.
Mm.
I was pretty much the same. Like the night before, I battled to sleep a bit actually, and just sort of lay tossing and turning. I think as you do when you're excited, and then sort of telling myself, "Oh, you need to go to sleep now. You need to go to sleep," and just made it worse. So it took me ages to go. And I was like, "Oh no, if I don't get any sleep now, then I've still got a full 24 hours to go." So I desperately need to get sleep.
Yeah.
But I fell asleep eventually, and I think I managed to get like a good 6.5 hours or something, and then on the day, then you're sort of just buzzing for it. We prepared well for it, so I was ready to go. I felt good. Didn't think on the Friday actually I felt a bit stiff because we did a workout on the Tuesday, and it was like every minute on the minute. It was like 5 pull-ups, 10 press-ups, 15 squats on the Tuesday for an hour.
Yeah.
So like on Wednesday I was stiff, Thursday I was stiff, and then
Yeah.
Friday I was still like. But that was probably a good thing, you know, going
Mm.
into it, because your muscles were so conditioned to that, for the movements for it, you know. But yeah,
It was 900 squats, wasn't it, in the end?
yeah, it was like doing 3 Murphs without
Like
the
doing
run,
3
you know.
Murphs.
That we, yeah.
Yeah.
And my legs were definitely feeling it on the Friday, still, you know, just slightly. But then by Saturday morning when I got up, it was gone, you know, which was probably a good thing that we did it that way, on
Yeah.
the Tuesday, and just really conditioned those movements again. So
Yeah, because I guess you had. I mean, we obviously spoke about it in the first episode about the training that you put yourselves through to make sure that you were, like you say, conditioned enough to get or to get as far as you possibly could go.
yeah,
That you must have felt confident knowing that actually, although I do feel a little bit stiff and a little bit tight, I know that you, like you say, you know you've done the right things. The things that you've done are exactly where you needed to be. Did you have
yeah.
any sort of worries at all? Was there any worries going into the day, thinking, "God, have we done this right? Have I done that right?" Is there anything like mentally that you sort of thought more,
No,
not
I think
maybe?
yeah, we're pretty strong at those movements, but yeah, I think there's always doubt in your head
Yeah.
a little bit somewhere, like more like, oh, what if something goes, you know, what if I get injured early on, and then you know, you've
Yeah.
got a full 24 hours that you need to do this for. So I think like the thought of maybe straining something or getting injured early on, that was always a concern for me anyway, but
Yeah, I
probably
think
for yourself as well,
I
right?
think that was the biggest concern because we just had 2 months to put the volume in. It was whether we had enough time to condition our body for like that amount of work that we wanted. We wanted to get 20 rounds in because, like you said before, the record was 17,
Yeah.
but we didn't want to just get past that like a lot of other people have done in the past. It was 15 last year and someone got 16. It's been broke 3 times this year, so someone got 16, someone got 16 and a half, and the next person got 17. We wanted to like blast through that so that people
Bit harder to catch.
harder make them like hard, like so they don't get broken again this year, basically, so we can have a year off, come back at it next year.
You can have Christmas off.
I didn't want John knocking on my door on Christmas Day and saying, "John, I just broke it. We got to go back."
Got your head
Merry-
in the turkey.
You know what?
Oh,
Just put a
Merry
stone on. I'm like,
Christmas.
hang on a minute, mate.
Santa's not coming this year.
Santa's not coming up with that belly.
Let the toffee fade down. Yeah.
So yeah, it was that.
So-
whether we had enough time to put the volume in for the body, we knew we did 5, so we knew we definitely had 10 in us. It was what the rest would take.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To double that.
So talk us through the first sort of between 5 and 10 then. You know, you got started and I can imagine, like you say, the first 5 you probably felt pretty confident because you know you'd hit that. And so
Yeah.
in your head you're going, well, I know I've done that. So it's like anything, isn't it? I mean,
If you're
anyone
already-
who does a lift and you go, well, I know I've got that, so I'll go and do it. Whereas you
Yeah.
add maybe 5 kilos, you think, I haven't done that before. And all those doubts start to creep
I
in.
will be honest with you, like the first 4 was quite tough. I think it's
Yeah.
because there was quite a few people there, and I was trying to dictate our pace because John fucking very good at giving it everything into John, and so I was trying to dictate our pace, but I've written down a plan, so we had a pacing, but it was the first 4 we was behind it, and it was
Yeah.
starting to like. I could see it in the head thinking, don't fall any more further behind. We'll never catch it up. So I was starting to put like a bit of pressure on it, if that makes sense. And with people being there as well, it was, it felt, and then all of a sudden, I think we were just on the run and we were just like, let's just enjoy it. And then from then on, then for quite some time, then up to 9, it just flowed. It just flowed through, and we caught up the pace, and we were just on par with where we wanted to be.
Yeah.
And that was good from that like sort of 4 till 9. And the next 5 were, felt good. It felt like a flow, like we mentioned before. When you go running, all of a sudden you get into the right rhythm, and it just flows. and that's what that felt like. That from 4 to 5 to me, sorry, from 4 to 9, the next 5 just felt like a flow. Yeah, that's how it felt, really.
Did you feel like, John, did you feel like you had to zone out a little bit? Ray said there about having a lot of people around you and obviously things going on, which I know when you
Yeah,
mentioned in your training, it was just the two of you. So did you have to sort of have a bit of a zone out moment for a few
I think
hours
I
where you
was
just
trying
sort
to.
of,
Yeah, I think in the beginning I was just trying to enjoy it, because it was fresh and I was trying to interact with people, and that was probably costly as well because I'm pretty sure that missed marked 2 rounds that we did where I didn't add them on. Like early on, I think in the third or the fourth round they were in, I missed a set of 5 pull-ups, 10 press-ups, and 15 squats, and we ended up doing an extra round, and then later on again. Just for being distracted, I ended up where I was marking the rounds down, like the actual Murph rounds completed. And because I was drawing the lines and then scoring them off every 5 sets, I had missed, instead of putting a line down, I put a 4 and just got distracted. And then I rubbed the 4 out and I was like, shit, did we do it? Was that a round there? And so I'm pretty sure I missed out on, we did 2 rounds extra, which is probably,
okay.
yeah, which would have
We
given
spoke
us a
about it
bit
at the
more
time,
time.
didn't we? We said we might as well
Yeah,
just do it. No, we didn't want anyone to, when we did this, we didn't want anyone to question,
No
whether
excuses.
we did it right. Yeah.
yeah. So we actually ended up doing more on top of that because I had miscounted by definitely two rounds that we hadn't added onto the scoreboard that we redid. So I knew then when I looked at the time, we were behind, but it was because we'd missed those 2 rounds for the first 5 lots, which isn't a lot, but yeah, probably around about 5 or so minutes. But yeah, because we'd set that pace, it's annoying when you obviously have to do additional reps, but I think that's something I tend to do to myself all the time, like miscount and get distracted and lose focus. Yeah, so just rather with that, we just thought, well, we'll just said to Ray, I think I've missed them, but we just carried on and added an extra one on,
Yeah. So I think people would like to know when it really started to get tough, when it really started to kick in and think you sort of thought, what are we doing here? Was there any, either of you? Because obviously, although you were doing this together, you're still both having to complete the same amount of work. So it was still an individual workout ultimately. I know it was being, you were doing it together, but was there a point where either of you thought, wow, I don't think I can carry on, or this is tougher than I thought it was going to be, or was there a point, or were you pretty comfortable most of the way through?
For myself, yeah, I knew there wasn't going to be a point where I'd ever give up, but there was definitely points where it was uncomfortable to the point where you were getting in like I need to start this again. And the hardest thing was doing the 2 mile run. And I think it started to get tough at about round 12, round 13, where like the fatigue had set into the muscle. And it's like, have you ever done like heavy squats or bench or anything like that, and you're stiff the next day and your muscles are fatigued, and you try and do that same movement again, and it's absolutely agony. That's what it felt like going into every round of pull-ups, press-ups, and squats for the first, let's say, 5 sets that we were doing. So every time you reached up and grabbed onto that bar, this was all my lats were just pulling and straining. But and you knew each round we knew it would ease off. As soon as you went into the movement, warmed that muscle up again, and got moving, then it eased off. But I'd say from like round 13 onwards, that's just the way it stayed throughout. That pain didn't go away. And I think early hours of the morning for myself as well just sort of got difficult, where I felt tired, just sleepy tired, and then also a bit physically and probably mentally. And I think one of the rounds, maybe around 13, 14, I was like, it's getting hard work, but that soon went away, and I knew that we could continue and press on. But I think Ray's was probably, I know you were around the same sort of area, like around 13 or something.
Yeah, what I did was I went strict pull-ups all the way through to 9 rounds. So we've done 9 rounds, and then on the ninth one, I was starting to feel some pulling in my biceps. So I went down to 3 strict and 2 singles, pop, pop, on the Cindy side of things. And then when I come in to do the 10th one, I was like, right, I'm going to have to kip now because I could really feel them. Both biceps were really hurting. Once I've done the 10 and 11, that was fine. And then on the 12th, I could really feel like the 12th one was, like John said, it was mentally. 12 and 13 was a real mental struggle, but I could real feel a strain on here, on my right side. And then I was just getting on with it, and then it stopped. I thought, oh, I've got away with that. That's just my body just trying to like force a way for me to quit. Do you know what I mean? So I thought, I won a battle there. And then on the 14th, I literally pulled something in this left bicep. It just was pure, like, it was, I don't know what round, like, it was a couple of reps in, but I really felt something really poor. Like, it was horrible. It felt like someone stabbed me in the arm. And then, just that sort of pain just continued from 14 up until we finished. I had to sort of put a band on it to compress it, because when it was compressed, it wasn't as painful. But like John said, it was, I think, because from the 12th onwards, we were going into really like, we'd done 5 before. 10 was probably where our body was ready for, but we're pushing it past that. So I think when we got to 12, we covered off that run, and it was like John said, it's like the next day DOMS, and you were like, every rep was a grind for like 5 rounds of Sydney before it warmed up again, and then you're back in it.
Because I suppose you're in the unknown there as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
massively, yeah.
Not knowing what's going to happen. You already said there at the start that, you know, one of the things that you were most afraid of was wasn't not being able to complete it, but getting injured while you're doing it. And if you start getting that sort of, like you say, that feeling where every rep is a real struggle, you sort of think, and then obviously, like you said, Ray, there you felt that pull in your left bicep, and your head must have been playing games at that point because you're probably super tired as well. And
there was lots of like, you're going to rip it in a minute, so like it's going to come off the bone, you're going to have to quit, just quit now, don't go too far. But I always said from the beginning that I'd just go to the end, and I thought if it goes, it goes. I can't do nothing about that, but what I can do something about is finishing. He's giving it everything, and that's what I wanted to do. And I mentioned it, we talked about it the other day, didn't we, John? Like, it's not very often you get a chance to just push your body until to the end, really, and just see what it's got. And that was you wouldn't do that in training. I wouldn't advise anyone to do that in training. If you start to feel niggles, just stop, because you want to come. You always advise people to come in the next day, be able to train so you can come in the next day. But with that was a challenge. That was something we really wanted to do, and the risk reward was there. So that's why I pushed it that further, that extra mile.
That's a good bit of advice going forward for anyone, really. I mean, there's training, and then there's competition, and those two modes, there has to be quite a substantial divide between those, because in competition you're obviously competing, and you need to, like you say, push your body to its limits. But in training, you want to be able to continue to do that, and being able to get up every day and do some form of training is a really good place to be. So
consistency is the best thing for training. So being consistent, even if it's just a little bit, progressive overload, like we always say, but being in every day and doing something little, even if it's a recovery day, whatever, being consistent, not pushing yourself so much that you can't train for 3 days. That's detrimental. You're just going backwards rather than going forward. Where in competition, like I say, they're completely different end of the spectrum. So in competition, you're trying to see what you've got, really, what you've put in the work in, and just trying to, I don't know, like we were trying to break the record.
So I suppose the big question is, was the record broken?
Yeah, smashed.
Smashed.
I don't think there's much left of it. It's in pieces. No, I put that
So,
together.
what was the final? What was the total score? What was the final outcome?
So we did 19 and I think 0.75 rounds or something like that. So we were
Wow. Bloody
what were we? 25 pull-ups short of the 20 round mark, 50 press ups short, and 75 squats short, and a mile run. Yeah, of 20 rounds completion.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, it was.
I think, like, if I said, I think if we didn't get that bicep pull, I think we would have quite comfortably got to 20.
Yeah.
I think there's more there. Like I had to literally slow us down on the run for the last few hours, because every time I run, that bicep was just moving around, and it felt like it was just making me reach, basically, because I had to take the band off on the run, so the blood could get back and let it flow.
Yeah.
But obviously, when I run, it was moving around, and it was causing a lot of pain. So we used to just, in the end, we were just walking really fast, tabbed it in the army called tabbing. So we just tabbed the mile, the 2 miles, whatever it was. So that we lost a bit of time there as well. Obviously, I had to rest more than we had planned. But 19 and
Yeah. 0.7 thereabouts. Yeah. So that's the total numbers in total of what we covered. So 39 miles of running or distance, 1,975 pull-ups, 3,950 press-ups, and 5,925 squats.
Wow.
In the
That's
24-hour period. Yeah. So some high numbers.
That's
the highest
amazing.
I've ever. Yeah.
That is amazing. That sounds like a good training day, right?
Sounds like a year's worth of training.
That's a year, yeah. No, that is amazing. And also, obviously, we had some really good causes. I know we obviously had Sean Smile, the charity, and then obviously we had your Y Ray, which is obviously doing it in memory of Chaz. In terms of the money raised, guys, have you got a sort of final total? I know there's still some bits coming in.
Yeah, there's still some donations coming in, but it's well over the £7,000 mark now.
Wow, that's
so probably around 7,500, maybe closer to 8, somewhere around there. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, it was well and over above what we expected, because we'd only set the limit on the Just Giving page at 2,000, and the response that we got from everyone was incredible. I can't thank the people enough myself for being involved and donating, and mate, it was overwhelming response, really, from everyone. Like my wife's phone, I was saying to Ray, was just going crazy constantly with with all the donations that she was getting from people. It just kept going and going. So it was really good to see, and it was can't be grateful enough to everyone that donated to that cause. It was really good.
Let's get it straight. As far as the record goes, yes, that was just the cherry on top, really.
Yeah.
Doing that, and Sean was there as well, and the family were there, and we were saying today, she was on top form. She got out, she did a run, she did a mile run and walk, she did some squats, and just seeing how happy she was, and how grateful, the family were just amazing. So they all got involved. It just that was more than anything, mate. The records can be broken, but times like that, memories like that will always be in your head, and I think that was what it was all for. In the end of the day,
definitely.
Nice to get a record, surely, but the cause. To raise that amount of money, like John said, we can't thank the people enough. It's unbelievable. And all the Southern Legion members and that came down. We have members coming down every 2 hours to do a Murph with us. and also there was Matt who set up a stall outside and just sold drinks and coffee. He stayed with us pretty much
throughout. Yeah,
throughout, didn't he? In the
Yeah,
late hours, I think
yeah,
us three at one point, and he was just
yeah, amazing.
he was trying to stay awake. Obviously, we were busy, so we didn't like. It was easy for us to stay awake, but he was there going, you could see him like, what's happening?
Nodding.
But everyone that came down, mate, everyone that supported, everyone that donated. We'll get to it in a minute, but the finish was just wow.
That was something else. Yeah, and even during that, the best part about it was seeing other people come in and do a Murph, and like seeing other people suffer with you made your suffering not as bad as what it was anymore. It's like looking at people give it their all on a Murph or just training with you or being a part of that, then you could look at them and you're thinking, geez, at least I'm not the only one here sort of dying on my own. There's people that are coming out and giving it their all as well, so that was really helpful to see that constantly throughout, and especially early hours of the morning when people were coming in and doing their workouts with us, and to look across at people. And a lot of people were doing like 2 Murphs themselves, and most people had only ever done one up until that point. So it was good to see people, pushing on and completing 2 rounds of Murph.
I think that was the inspiration of it, wasn't it? I think people everyone got caught up in that inspiration that you guys set. You set the marker, and you guys gave everyone that why, and that was Sean and Chaz, and giving everyone that why to actually go out and like you say, do things they've not done before. There are people running that haven't run for a long time. There are people doing Murphs that haven't done a Murph before. There are people, like you say, doing double Murph. One's tough enough once a year, let alone coming in at 2:00 in the morning or whatever it was to come and do 2 with a vest on, and people doing it with a vest that maybe hadn't done that before. And I think there's just got everyone just sort of got caught up in it. And I think that to me is what fitness is all about, is everyone being a part of something. And you guys set the marker, and I think it was really inspirational to see everyone sort of jump in and be involved in whatever way they could that they were comfortable with.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely well said. Yeah, that was really good to have that there for us throughout. I think it probably would have been a lot harder without that support there. Just like myself and Ray just trying to slug it out for 24 hours without that support and everyone's messages online, the amount of people that were viewing those videos, and we were getting the messages read out to us. And there was just, with all of that, there was no ways you were ever going to quit. You couldn't quit. Like you knew there was too many people watching it and inspired by it, and you were like, well, I'm never going to jack this in at any stage. I'll go through with this right to the end.
So that final moment then, when the clock struck 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, how did that feel? What was that?
Just leading up to that, the last 5 minutes. We came in from doing the 2. We finished 19 on the run, then one, and then run out again for the next mile for the 20th. When we came in for the 19, we just started to run out. We noticed a load of cars coming in, like pulling up. We hadn't not invited anyone. We said people make sure if you come down it's social distancing, blah blah blah. So we didn't expect many people to sort of turn up. You noticed a lot of cars coming through, bibbing us. And then when we come back for that, finishing that first mile of the 20th one, there was quite a few people there, obviously spread out, being arms distance and stuff, outside the gym, just cheering us on. And I was like,
yeah, nice.
We got to go. We got to put a show on now. We were right at the end, and there's a video.
You were trying to do one round.
Yeah, I was like, I just love this.
I'm back in. We got an hour to do 5 pull-ups, 10 press-ups.
But there's a lot of people cheering us on. A lot of people online cheering us on. There's a video up at the moment, which is like the last 5 minutes, and it's just, it was amazing, mate. It just pushed it a little bit harder.
The pain was gone. Like there was no more pain at the start of that round. And even where my lats were sore throughout all of that, with all the support there, the adrenaline just kicked in, and there was no more pain or anything like that. You know, it just felt good.
Yeah,
It's
my squats and press ups felt fine. It was just every pull up was like a jab in the arm, but it was like I knew I was still going to go because of the amount of people that were there and cheering, and
it does make a difference, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, it does. Yeah, adrenaline kicks in, doesn't it?
That's what I was going to say. Like, I came in early in the morning. There was a few. I mean, we went out for our first run. Obviously, you had already done 15, I think, at this point. We went out for our first run, and I think we came back in with you. And everyone was like clapping, and I was like, "Well, obviously, I've only done a mile run. Like, there's nothing, you know." But even that gave me a little bit of a okay, I better get a move on here. But
Yeah.
you know what that must have felt like with all those people there at the end. Like, I mean, I've seen the video. If you've not seen it, you need to go and check it out on the 24-hour Murph Challenge page, guys that are listening. It is quite an emotional watch, actually. So.
Yeah, it was once at 9 o'clock here. We finished the 15th round. It was like 15 rounds Indy. Yeah, it was just like, God, it's quite emotional. Everyone was cheering on. I think a lot of people were crying. Our kids.
I had a bit of chalk, I think, in my eye.
I had a bit of chalk in his eye. I had some.
That John Schumann.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then our kids come up. That made it harder. Like, now Smokey in here, and then Sean was a cuddle as well, and that was like.
Yeah.
But yeah, very emotional finish at the end, which another thing I didn't
worthwhile.
really expect to come along.
Yeah, and even like the likes of Sean's dad, you know, and Sean's family, you could see how much it, you know, we knew it meant a hell of a lot to them all the way through this, but that feeling at the end and seeing how much it meant emotionally to them and everyone that was there, you know, spectating, you could see that it probably inspired a lot of people, you know, and it was good. It was one of those feelings you'll never forget.
Yeah,
You'll always remember that.
Yeah, and no one can take that away either. It's just
It was worth it. It was worth 24 hours.
It was, yeah.
They're the memories that you're going to keep, isn't it? Like you said before.
Definitely, yeah.
So maybe a bit early, but do you have anything else planned? Have you got anything else that you think that needs to be any records that need to be broken, or
we're just
sort of going to take a bit of a step back?
It's been a bit of a long road on the recovery at the moment. I've had a week where I've been quite a bit of pain through the biceps and shoulders, so I've had a hard week of trying to recover from that. But I'm on the, like I said before, I'm on the mend now, but I probably won't be able to use my arms for another couple of weeks. As far as challenges come, I think we're just sort of pondering stuff at the moment, but that was, like I say, we said on the first podcast that actually doing something with your fitness, something that you love doing anyway, but having something to do and try to inspire people is something that is something I never really thought about so much before, but now it's just like a constant thought, you know?
Yeah.
Like to help people.
Yeah.
Just for doing something you love doing.
Yeah.
It's also like you said there, you're helping people in one way from the financial aspect because you're raising money for a really good cause, but sometimes I don't know if people realize the impact on other people's lives just from the inspiration side of actually doing a challenge and people getting involved and them going, well, actually, I want to go and try and do something, or I'm going to push myself a little bit harder this time, and I'm going to try and get to this and try and get to that level. And I think that makes a big impact as well, like you say. So having someone there that people can aspire to, if you like, is a really good thing. And enjoy your training. And I think that's what we always say to people. But if you can give yourself a target and give yourself a challenge, then that's a really healthy place to be.
I'm glad you brought it up, Danny. That was something that I really wanted to bring into this podcast, is that set yourself challenges. I know people set themselves goals. I want to do this by the end of the year. I want to lose weight. But set yourself a challenge that's quite tough. It doesn't have to be a 24-hour, like, burn your arms out challenge. But it could be anything. Like we did in lockdown, we did the 10,000 swing challenge, which is like you do it 4 times a week. Don't do 10,000 swings. You do 1,000 swings in one session. No, it's 500, isn't it?
500 a day, yeah.
So you do 500 in each session. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge to stay consistent because it's over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Like, I mean, people do the couch to 5K. That's a challenge. That's why people do well at it, because it is challenging and it gets them focused. Anything you can think of. I know there's a few people that messaged me recently and said they're going to do a challenge, and I think that's amazing. And it pushes you that little bit further. It makes you be more consistent with your training. And then the feel factor afterwards when you complete that challenge.
It's that goal setting as well, I think, so important, because sometimes you look at a goal. I mean for anyone in there, whether it's a fitness or whether it's in your work life or whatever, if you set yourself a goal and just set it really small and then achieve it, that gives you the confidence to set the next one and go and achieve that. What some people can do is say, for example, it might be a weight loss. I want to lose 10 stone. Well, okay, that's a great, it's a good start, and it's good that you've got that in your head, but actually go and lose 1 stone. And that confidence boost will then move you up to 2. And, and I think this is where I think sometimes the challenge side of things, people get a little bit, they want everything yesterday. Whereas actually there's a real big process that takes place, and you've got to trust that. I know we always cheese on about trust the process and all that sort of stuff, but there is some truth to it. You don't rush and just enjoy it and set small goals. If you saw a big bit of cake in front of you, you wanted that a cake, you wouldn't eat the whole thing right away. You'd have a little bit every day, and I think that's probably the wrong analogy in this example, but that's people.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but if you know what I mean. So you just sort of take things slow and enjoy it, and
slow. Set yourself small goals.
Definitely.
Yeah, maybe don't get caught up in other people's goals as well. Because too often I think people look at an individual and think, oh, how come he can do that, or he's so fit and he can do that amount of stuff, or whatever it is. Set your own goals and achieve them yourself, because everyone's got their own limitations and everyone's different. And because one person might be able to do more because they can work harder, doesn't mean the next person can. But as long as they're working to the hardest that they can and to their capabilities, then they're pushing themselves just as much as the guy that's pushing himself that looks a lot more. But that it's good to just set your own goals and not get caught up in other people's
100%.
what they can do.
You should be always working to better yourself, not to be someone else.
Yeah, and you'll achieve that. I think that end result, if you're consistent with it, you'll get closer and closer to that. But it's being consistent.
What a lot of people do is look at other people and see what they're doing and think, "Oh, I'll never be able to do that." So in the end, they don't do anything. Which
you just sack it off.
You know what I mean?
It seems so far away.
Just chip it away, like you said, small goals, and you eventually before you know it.
Yeah, definitely. Set goals, keep a diary so you can see where you've come from.
Always track everything. I've tracked everything from about 8 years. I've got 8 years of programming all written down on notepads. It's mad. I'll write everything down. I do. I'm good now. I've got it all online. It's a bit easier.
More digital.
It only took me about 2 years to do that though. Like, I've got things written on paper from about 8 years ago.
Just post-it notes of workouts.
Just all over the place. It's a bit more organised now, but it's just, and don't, like John said, don't get wrapped up in other people's goals. Just set your own and just chip away at yours. You'll always, if you're better in yourself, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. I think that's a good place to end. I think that's a brilliant place to end this episode 2 or part 2 of episode 1, whatever we want to call it. But guys, thank you again. I can only say congratulations, and I've seen all the messages and things online, and again, you have inspired people, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are going to achieve next, and you're more than one like that. As for episode 3, guys, we have got Laura Kelly coming on from LK Nutrition. So all things nutrition. So a really, really good podcast for you guys to listen to. If you're really struggling to know where to start when it comes to nutrition, Laura's going to point us in the right direction. and really help out with that journey of eating right, not only for training, but also just for life as well. So really looking forward to that episode coming up. So keep an
Yeah,
eye
that'd be
out
a
for
good
that.
one.
As for now, John, thank you again.
Yeah, nice one.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Unofficial record, and well done for everything you guys have done. Yeah, let's look forward to seeing what comes next.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stay
Nice
strong,
one.
guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah.